Welcome back, thrifty Switch owners. I'm James Romero, and I've been wading through the eShops in the UK, US, and EU to bring some gems to your attention, those tempting deals that are worth considering on the eShops. I hope you're having a great week so far. Have you tried Hypercharge Unboxed yet? This video is brought to you by this great FPS title set in a miniature toy world that is ever expanding with tower defense elements thrown into the mix. The major update 3 was recently released, adding a whole bunch of new content to sink your teeth into. You can check out our video covering what's new in the update to find out more, and there's a demo so you can try this before you buy. Now let's jump in and take a look at this week's deals. Now I'm kicking things off this week with a fright. Outlast Bundle of Terror and Outlast 2 both have a whopping 80% off, making them must-have purchases for fans of the horror genre on the Switch. The original game is a true survival horror experience, putting you in the claustrophobic surroundings of an asylum where your only hope is to run and hide. What's more, the story is expanded with the Whistleblower DLC that dives further into the tale. Outlast 2 is longer and tougher, and has some darker scenes, but it's also a bit of a change compared to the first. It's a more open affair, but is equally horrifying with a creepy cult set deep in the Arizona desert. As you explore the murder of a pregnant woman, you become embroiled in a horrific story. Both games feature strong storytelling, excellent gameplay, and look great on the Nintendo Switch, which is why they topped our best horror games on the Switch list. Now is the time to pick them up, if you can stomach them, that is. Jordan, Juan, what are your picks this week?
How you doing, everyone? Jordan here with my bargain of the week. This week I'm going all artsy on you with the incredibly beautiful Gris. It's a puzzle platformer that's all about the experience, all about being magical, the imagination and wonder. As a game, there may not be too much to it, just 3 hours of simple enough puzzle, but the artistry behind it is magnificent. It's now on sale with 60% off, which I think is excellent value. Now just $6.79 in the US and Euros and £5.79 in the UK. I know people look down on this game for its short nature, but at that price you can't turn your nose up at it anymore. Get ready for some beauty.
Thanks very much, James. I really like Void Bastards and I picked it up at full price. It's my pick of the week because it has a great 50% off, and if you've not tried this great FPS game, now's your chance to check it out. It's not your typical FPS. Your task is to lead the ragtag Void Bastards out of the Sargasso Nebula to make decisions where you go, what to fight on derelict ships. You will strategize and plan missions. And what I love in this 12-hour campaign is one of you dies, another steps in to carry on the fight, and all of your crafting progress is retained when that next character steps in. I love how each prisoner also has differing traits, so with the endless supply of prisoners, you'll definitely get there eventually. I enjoyed those cool looking visuals, gameplay which just isn't about shooting all the time, and the overall package screams quality. So as I say, don't miss it at this price if you've not picked it up yet.
Lovely picks there, guys. Up next, Spiritfarer is a cozy management game about dying. Yes, it's a bit bizarre. You play as Stella, fairy master to the deceased, a Spiritfarer if you will. You need to build a boat to explore the world, then befriend and care for spirits before finally releasing them into the afterlife. It's surprisingly relaxing for such a dark topic in which you farm, mine, fish, harvest, cook, and craft your way across mystical seas. You can enjoy this one in co-op as well, and ultimately you learn how to say goodbye to your cherished friends. This is a charming little tale, and it now has 33% off across all regions. As a demon army besieges his village, a young ninja ventures through a cursed world to deliver a scroll paramount to his clan's survival. What begins as a classic action platformer soon unravels into an expansive, time-travelling adventure full of thrills, surprises and humour. The Messenger is one of the strongest indie titles on the Switch. I love its retro style and chiptunes, plus its branching paths to discover. This one really reminds me of Shinobi with its action ninja style. Carrion is a Metroidvania that has also been described as a reverse horror game on the basis that you control the monster trying to prey on the staff in the facility that had encapsulated you. Through your adventure, you will gain new abilities to travel to new areas, and you will often need to morph in size to squeeze through vents and doors to access new areas. Just because you are the monster, don't be fooled that this will be an easy time. Guards with shields and also flamethrowers will block your path through this gruesome facility. It's a great game and it has a nice 33% off right now. Limbo is a very old game now, an award-winning dark and moody platformer that doesn't hold your hand and leaves you scratching your head often. Its artistic style of dark silhouettes and creepy imagery still holds up all these years later. The physics-based mechanics often lure you into making a mistake, which is delightfully ghoulish. If you never experienced this, then it's certainly worth picking up and enjoying this short but great game. After the dizzy heights of Limbo, we had a long wait for Playdead's follow-up, and looking back now, it builds on the first game in every way. If you decide to pick up both, I would definitely recommend playing Limbo first before diving into Inside. Instead of the fantasy setting this time around, there is a dark corporation in a sci-fi setting that's equally or perhaps even more disturbing. Another great game with a very healthy discount right now. Furi and the Will of the Wisps is one of my favourite games on the Nintendo Switch, featuring in our recent top games on the Switch so far, which is high praise indeed. This charming tale picks up where the first title left off and improves to what was already fantastic. It's charming, engrossing, gorgeous, and is just a wonderful journey worth taking. Hotline Miami Collection brings the extremely highly regarded original indie title and its more disappointing sequel together and ports them onto the Nintendo Switch. There are very few games that are more violent than these two. The brutal gameplay is bonkers and unique, as well as tough and unforgiving. Simply put, this is hardcore gruesome murder that's a blast and a laugh to play. Add North is a good old Viking romp turned RTS that fits very well on the Switch due to its clever controls and slowdown mechanic when you select a character. You set out between islands to get your people to safety, defending these citizens from Viking invaders. The battles are short affairs where you control the broad strokes of the battle, giving high-level commands to your soldiers who try their best to carry them out in the heat of the moment. It's surprisingly deep and yet really accessible, with simple player inputs masking a dynamic combat simulation that makes it inviting to new players whilst challenging veterans. A real bargain at less than half price. Risk of Rain is a classic roguelike multiplayer game, and it's back in part 2 with more weapons, modes, characters, and a jump from 2D to 3D, something that doesn't always work out, but thankfully here it manages to keep the essence of the original whilst adding a new dimension, literally. The premise is simple enough. With a group of misfits, you need to survive and escape an alien world. A couple of missions are present, the UI is definitely geared towards PC, and there is no local multiplayer, so you will need to play with friends online. That said, it's a solid experience with a nice 60% off right now. Slay the Spire is the perfect game to pick up and play when you fancy a nice solo run or have some downtime to kill. Each run is different, yet familiar in this addictive, roguelike deck-building battler. What's more, there has been content added over time, such as a 4th class and ascension mode and leaderboards, which all add to the replayability of this game, which is why I still pick it up from time to time. What's great is just how varied each one is. Your core characters have their own playstyles, but even amongst them, picking up different cards or landing a different relic will take you down a slightly different path. The balance is great, and that's ultimately an important part of why this is such an awesome game. Furi is a boss battler that certainly lives up to its name. Each battle is tough and engaging and not very forgiving at all. To succeed, you will need to first fail and learn the path to victory, which is all about pattern recognition. The game has a very cool sci-fi samurai look about it that bleeds into the gameplay, as you need to figure out how to defend in order to set up successful attacks, so it's no surprise to find anime master Takashi Okazaki is responsible for the character design. This now has 70% off. The Steamworld series has a wonderful steampunk vibe, and this time it's back in the form of a turn-based strategy game featuring a brilliant soundtrack recorded by steam-powered giraffe and gorgeous visuals. You and your team of robots roam the galaxy in a space adventure. The gameplay is deep and rewarding, with an excellent aiming mechanic and lots of combos, cover, and strategic decisions to be made. There are countless hours of tactical fun to be had. This is perfect either on a TV or in handheld mode, and with 70% off, this is an epic bargain, one that all fans of the strategy genre should definitely consider picking up. The Dragon Ball world is epic, full of lore, great characters, and epic moments, and Xenoverse 2 aims to cram all of that into an open world fighter akin to an MMORPG, but with more of a focus on combat. If that sounds exciting, that's because it is. The game is huge, and the ability to take your own created character into this world is enticing. The port to the Switch is decent, and the visuals still look great. A real bargain with 84% off. Bastion is an action RPG with solid gameplay and all of the classic areas you expect from this type of game. Progression, different playstyles, and various weapons. But what really makes Bastion stand out is its silky style and exceptional narration. You feel as though you are sitting down to hear this tale over a bottle of wine with a wise elder. Its style is equally brilliant, full of bright colours and characters. If you never got a chance to experience this on other platforms, you are missing out. And even if you did, it's worth a second dip. The follow-up game to this, Transistor, is also on sale, and I'd certainly recommend checking that out too. Devolver Digital have a great track record on the Switch, and Minit doesn't disappoint. It's intentionally short and restricted to a small, old-school low-tech world. It has really good puzzles and is perfect to play over a couple of hours. There's something to be said about a game that is enjoyed and then put down before it loses its shine. Check this one out now that it has 60% off. And that's it from us this week. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you've had a great week and you've enjoyed this video. If it's your first time here, then please consider subscribing if you want more content like this delivered to you. Speaking about more content, check out some of our ultimate lists that we put up recently. We'll put a link on those here, and we'll be back tomorrow with our roundup of this week's physicals from Jordan. Until then, take care, have a great week.